What a ride that was. Okay, I admit I didn't have my expectations very high for the 25th anniversary. I was excited, and believe me, I am excited for this. I was. I literally came off social media, but after watching it, ups and downs, swings and roundabouts. That's all I can really say. But I'm going to review it, and yeah, I should have done a review for episode 9, but we'll get back to that at some point. But yes, Dimensions in Danger. Okay. Very mixed feelings on this one. So we open up with Tommy. He's driving his Dino Thunder car back to his Dino Thunder house, and I was actually pleasantly surprised when seeing this, because I thought they may just kind of have him in a different place. It would have been interesting to see like kind of Catherine there, but he's on the phone to her. It's very kind of confusing when you see this later on, but he's saying that he's going to see Kat later, and then we find out that he has a son called JJ, which is kind of cool. So we know that the progression from the end of Zeo is happening, and I thought, yeah, that's kind of cool. Nice way of keeping it in continuity with the rest of the series. Suddenly, Tommy is ambushed by a mysterious man who we don't know. His name is Lord Dravon. I keep thinking it's Dracon or something like that, but it's Dravon. He is the main bad guy of the entire series. And then we cut to the Rangers, actually inside the school. They're playing pool, but Mick just comes out of nowhere and goes, "We don't have time for that, boys and girls. To the base." When they're in the base, Mick explains that they've had an emergency kind of signal, and the fact is that they need to help out. With this, 3 Rangers from the previous episode, number 9, come in, and they say, "Hey, we need your help." We find out that it's Wes, Gemma, and Coda, and they start explaining about the different realities or different dimensions that they've got within the Rangerverse. I really like this because it just wasn't a throwaway line, probably like we just kind of like glaze over this. Boom, they really dropped the kind of, this is awesome, this is what we're going to have. They explain that Time Force have made this device that is able to open up these portals to these other kind of dimensions, but it will drain and strain the morphing grid, which I kind of like the idea, because it's only in dire emergencies that you can call these guys, which then gives it kind of opening for like kind of future seasons and stuff. But I would have liked it if they said, like, we've been studying Energem power and we're using the power of the Energems, and now it can actually work in the other universes. That to me would have been perfect. That would have been icing on the cake for that explanation. But I'm okay for what they've done now. Wes explains that they need Tommy Oliver. He's kind of the key. They just kind of need him. So they all decide to go off to Tommy's house, which apparently, from what we find out, Reefside is really kind of close. I thought that this would be much later on, like at least a day or two away. Not really close. That it looks like it can be driven down there in about half an hour. As they arrive, they hear kind of a noise, and they go in the bushes, and they kind of just watch what's going on. And you see here that Tommy is there. He's looking evil. It's not Tommy, but it's kind of really weird because you think that they would have kept that going for a long time. We find out that Tommy is a robot. He is an evil robot. But Madame Odious comes down and she decides to grant the power of reality smashing arrows, which Dravon needs. He explains that he wants to destroy the realities and kind of merge them into one, which would be a very good idea. You kind of think that if you do that, the arrow would destroy all the different kind of universes. That would have been a better ploy of story, because can you imagine, one giant universe would have been perfect. Kudabots and also Android Tommy or Robot Tommy go into a new universe called the Antiverse, and you kind of think that this would be explained a little bit better. What is this universe that is compared to the other 3? But with that, the Rangers open up a portal and they follow in through. We then quickly switch over to the Robot Tommy going through the kind of base, and you find out that there's loads more other Rangers that they have captured. The first one you see is Antonio, the Gold Samurai Ranger, and it's very interesting that you see them drain the power of what they have to create clones of themselves into a robot, and then they're able to morph into a evil, darker kind of cyberpunkish type ranger, which looks really cool. But it also opens up something of Mick being evil. So in the trailer, if I briefly explained, we saw that Mick had red eyes and looked like he was evil, But when you look at Antonio and then look at Mick later on, you know that Mick's going to be a robot. Holy poo! Yeah, he is going to be a robot. So I didn't see that one coming, but when I saw it, it clicked like that. As someone attacks the entire type of unit, we see Lord Draven walk in and asks what's going on. He says that his entire whole unit has now been shut down. His robot making factory isn't able to utilize the power of the morphing grid anymore to actually make clone robots. And he actually has a go at Robot Tommy, saying that he's useless. And I kind of like that. I think it was very interesting, because if it was an exact clone of Tommy, you know that it would probably have got the job done, but it had some defaults in it, defects, shall I say. So with this, we see there's a huge army of robots. Not the same size as I would say the army in the Legendary War, but there is a lot of Ranger robots or Ranger clones, which again is kind of like, you could really do some damage. We come to a clip where the Rangers are saying, hey, come over here and run over here. And then it's running up towards the dam to actually the base. Now, we've seen this in the kind of intro trailer, the teaser that they did, where you've got Kudabots on one side and you've got Kudabots on the other, and they've got cannons, which kind of really reminded me of the Boom Studios part, where they had like the demorphing cannon or something. I like that kind of maybe small reference. Just as the other Rangers are ready to fight, they're getting into their poses, yet again not morphing, but they're getting ready to fight. We see that someone comes rushing in, destroys all the robots, and then comes out. And I generally thought that this was Robot Tommy, but it's not. It's actual Tommy. He demorphs, and everyone's like, yeah! Now, I will point this out. If you have seen someone wear the exact same clothes and they are a robot, dear God, be very careful, because, oh, it could be Evil Tommy. I thought it was Evil Tommy, but it wasn't. With this, they all have a quick chat. They explain that they're making evil Ranger robots, they're making clones, blah blah blah, and they say, Ninja Steel, you go off in one area, and then the rest of us will actually go to the Lord Dragons and actually get rid of the robots and free the other Rangers. So everyone runs off in their respective type of like groups, and the Ninja Steel Rangers actually take down more Kudabots, and they actually have a go at Lord Draven. And I've got to admit, it felt very ninja-ish. This was not kind of what we're used to, and I know they're using movie footage, but they find the base, they take down the Kudabots, they actually start fighting Lord Draven, but Lord Draven is really strong and actually has an energy shield that the Ninja Steel Rangers weapons can't actually get through, so he kind of knocks them back, and the other Rangers decide to say, hey, let's run away. But also, Pink and Red do the kind of ninja thing and hide behind something to actually say, oh, where are they? They're not there. I was like, yes! Finally, you're doing ninja stuff that we've wanted for such a long time. This is when we get the veteran Rangers storming the base and trying to rescue the other Rangers. They defeat what is a small army of Kudabots. You think you'd have more people in there. They get all the Rangers out. They all have like a quick talk saying like, oh, Lord Draven's here. He's been doing it. And TJ says something like, oh, Lord Draven, it's a name that I don't think I'd ever hear again. I'm like, you could have said, oh man, not him, or oh my god, I didn't know who it was. It just to me felt then like there should be more of a backstory to it. Like there should have been a whole new thing that TJ would have had. So maybe like there is an uncut version of him fighting or having his own storyline. As the Rangers start running off, Tommy is actually ambushed by Evil Tommy, Robot Tommy. Now. Thank you to Neo Saban or the Power Rangers channel. Oh, there is an extended fight of Tommy versus Tommy, and I don't understand why this wasn't put in. The episode was only like 21 minutes 27 seconds, and I think the entire fight was about 3 minutes, so you could have had that extra kind of little bit of in there. It would be nice. So Evil Tommy says like, oh, it'd only be fitting that an evil version of you or a robot version of you has to take the original Tommy down, which I'm like, okay, this kind of reminds me of like the Wizard of Deception part, which you saw white versus green, and oh my god, was this actually really, really cool. So Tommy has a Master Morpher, and again, I wish this was really kind of explained, because I think there is a ton of stuff you could have done. But he has the ability to transform into any of his past Ranger selves. Again, pretty good. I'm hoping in Soul of the Dragon, maybe they'll kind of explain it a little bit. I will explain what my thoughts would have been at the very end. But originally, if you've seen the extended fight, Tommy goes into Black Dino, he gets beaten, he then goes to Zero Red, then the White Ranger, and then the Green Ranger, and eventually he takes down Evil Tommy. Sarah and Brody have infiltrated the building, and they find where the arrows are. Well, they do in a moment, but they take on Lord Dravon, and it's kind of interesting because they keep attacking until he kind of forces them into another room, and they find where the arrows are kept. Sarah ties Brody down and says, like, we've got to get out of here, and Preston actually helps them with his Dragon Sword, and they kind of fly away. At this point, Lord Dravon is like, no, I can't believe this is happening. And he actually goes down onto the ground with all the Robot Rangers and says, attack them! The Robot Rangers start shooting and actually defeat the Ninja Steel Rangers, which fall on the ground. They demorph, they're wondering what's going on, and they find out that the robot army is only there because as soon as the barrier is taken down, boom, they are going to walk all the way through and actually take over the other universes. Everyone is kind of wondering what's going on, and all of a sudden we have the veteran rangers. They just do like ninja skills, so they all just appear. I would have preferred them all running in together. Or something like that, but they have ninja powers, which I generally think is just a kind of a nice touch on how to get them all there. This is when it could have done so much better, where you could have had extra time, and I hope there is actually a whole new thing there. So they all morph. You see the Ninja Ranger, you see the Ninja Steel Rangers, they morph, and then suddenly everyone else morphs really quickly, and then it's like all together, boom, there's a huge explosion. I just wish there was a whole proper roll call morph. That would be just awesome. That would have again probably been the cherry on top of all this. So we now move into the main part where Lord Dravon actually says, everyone attack, and we have this longish but not too longish like fight, and I generally wish this was longer. It would have been so much better if they had an hour. I think that the fighting would have been perfect. I hope there's an extended cut because this has been one of the best episodes for a very long time. So we have everybody fighting until then everyone decides to kind of gather up and to take down the other evil robot rangers. They start shooting their weapons, and compared to how many you saw leaving the area, compared to how many were there waiting, it felt like there weren't that many of them there. Like there's only a few stunt people and that was it. I just generally wanted more. It was nice seeing like Catherine and Sarah kind of teaming up, and then Ivan and Antonio teaming up. But it felt like a lot of the other Rangers were kind of undervalued. Like they weren't really there. They were there mainly just for eye candy or support. And dear God, I just kind of wish there was so much more to this fight. Lord Dravon fires one more arrow at the sky, and boom, the crack gets bigger and bigger. So then Madimodius decides to shoot down the kind of gigantify ray to actually make him huge, and he actually gets his last arrow and he pulls it to the sky and he fires it. Tommy decides to morph straight into the White Ranger and call the Falcon Zord. I was generally really impressed that the Falcon Zord was in this because I thought it'd be something else. So the Falcon Zord grabs the arrow, and as it's plummeting down and Lord Dravon has attacked the Rangers, they all decide to grab their weapons, aim it at Dravon and fire. With this, Tommy then launches the arrow straight into Dravon, and then that's how Dravon dies. Just dies right there, blows up, and everyone's like, yeah, oh my God. Then you see the whole Rocky and Brody kind of do the whole yeah man, and that's it, or like that. I would need another person to do it here, but then obviously like they all start talking about it, like saying like, you know, oh, you'll always be a ranger, you know, we've got to get back to our dimensions. But then it kind of contradicts itself, because it says like, oh, you are the protectors of all your worlds. I'm like, there's only 3 universes, like I don't understand. So then they all kind of say like, you know, it's great in your hands, you're all going to do fine with the Ninja Steel Rangers. And then they open 3 portals, which again contradicts the whole thing with the there's 3 rangers, there's 3 ranger universes. So you've got Gemma going back to hers, Coda going into his, and then obviously you have everybody else going into one portal, and Brody going, oh, that was epic. And that's it. The episode ends right there. So My thoughts on this one. This episode needed to be an hour long. I think you would have got I think it would have utilized a lot more of the other characters. You would have had so much to kind of put in there, and you had a lot of content you could have created. This would have been absolutely perfect in my eyes. The fight scenes needed to be longer, and it also felt like it was very Tommy orientated. I know that the brand focuses sometimes around him, but it would have been amazing if it focused on all the other characters. It felt like some of them just literally had a few lines. Like, it would focus more on Tommy, but then you had obviously Coda, Wes, and Gemma. But it would have been nice for the others to kind of explain, maybe, as I said just a minute ago, having some of like backstory of seeing like how they're evil, or maybe when they found out there's loads of other ones, they had to go back and find the evil robots and defeat them. I think that would have been kind of cool. Maybe a robot infiltrated them. We know Mick is a robot now, possibly. But again, that would have been very, very interesting to see. There was kind of no cooldown apart from the last part where you had a few seconds of them going like, yeah, this is great, see you later. It was literally straight action, action, action. There was no kind of, whoo, guys, you know, let's just take a pace for a minute. It was just very kind of, how much can we cram in this episode to make it what we want it to be. I think they could have put some more throwaway lines. Where did Tommy get the Master Morpher? What I would have liked is if they said, oh yeah, we got our powers back from Operation Overdrive when Alpha went into the morphing grid, or Alpha restored our powers, which could have been a small throwback to Operation Overdrive. You know, or Gia could be like, hey, I gave you back my powers. You know, I gave you the keys back. That holds your powers. Boom, you could have had a little bit more explanation in this. I know that we've had the Legendary War. That was never really explained. But she could have said, yeah, our powers were given to you for this, etc., etc. I loved that they brought back the Falcon Sword. I really did. But I would have liked to have seen more Megazord fights. You know, maybe the Ninja Steel Rangers would have got one with the help of every Ranger in the cockpit. That would have been cool. Or a specially designed Zord to actually be there and say, hey, you know, we're going to do this. They could have had the suits, they could have had the flutes flown out, or asked Toya to actually film that footage, because I think that would have been a little bit better. I would have liked Steve Cardenas to be Rocky, the Blue Zeo Ranger. I think that would have been more fitting for that one. I know obviously you have to have the Red Ranger there, but it would have been really nice for him to be Zeo Blue. I see him more as Zeo Blue than I do MMPR Red. I would have liked it to be padded out more. Again, I think that if you padded it out with more story, more character development, more backstory, I think you would have had such a better episode. But yeah, I generally really liked this. I liked the episode. I liked what they did. The story I was very blown away by, but obviously one thing I didn't kind of like is obviously with the actual actors posting on social media, posting up like pictures of the helmets on the stand with them posing next to it. You kind of figured it all out. Tommy's Morpher I was very intrigued with, because now it shows that if any other Ranger has like a secondary power, you know, they can use something like that, a kind of Master Morpher. So that was a very nice kind of touch to it. But I do generally think that they could have done more. But for what we got, I actually genuinely liked it. I hope that in the next episode, episode 11, we see some reference to it. But as I was talking to my friend about this, all the Rangers are kind of like near each other. They've got their powers back. So why can't they just go and help at times? Hey, Tommy, need your help. Okay, be there in a minute. You know, boom. Hey, Gia, you know, you've had some trouble with this monster or this type of monster. How did you defeat it? And she could come in. Oh, there's so much you can do. But I just generally think that the old Rangers sit back and go, no, our time's done. You kids go along. You know, you could generally come and help, but we know that's not going to happen. But this episode was very interesting. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Again, I'll probably make a video talking about more parts of this, but for now, what we got was okay. It could have been better. I would probably give this an 8 or 9 out of 10. But yeah, I'm generally hoping that we get some more of this later on, and hoping that if whoever's watching these sorts of videos will give feedback to the main people, like say back to Hasbro, or if Hasbro are watching, get some feedback for Beast Morphers, and kind of like make hour-long episodes, you know, if it's an anniversary, because it would make it, and do more team-ups. More team-ups would be amazing. Come on, Hasbro, make it happen. So Rangers, there's my review. What did you think about this episode? Did you like it? Did you not? Did you hate it? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you've liked this video, like, favorite, comment, and consider subscribing. Check out all the other videos on the channel. If you want to help out the channel on Patreon, link is in the description down below. And as always, Rangers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.